let's crack on with some questions. This is essentially the debrief, one of the most important phases of any operation, any mission. And this is where we learn, this is where we grow. And I want to pass on some of that knowledge to anyone that's interested in mindset, anyone that's interested in, where's Foxy? He wasn't even on the climb. I know where he is, in America. Anyone that's interested in climbing, anyone that's interested in just really achieving something that scares you but excites you at the same time. And let's crack on straight into it.
Let's
Laura.
crack on. Right. How did you find the people of Nepal?
Well, I got on the plane to Nepal, that helped. Oh, I see what you mean. Find them in there.
Oh, God.
How did I find them? It wasn't hard to look for them. I just went to Nepal.
It's going to be one of those nights.
Oh, dear. Dear, dear, dear.
Yes.
The people of Nepal were absolutely...
Paul's laughing. I'm careless. I might have to go and...
Oh, dear.
All right, come on.
Was this a good idea?
I promise you we're sober.
No.
Okay, come on. Pull it together.
The people of Nepal were absolutely amazing, and it was a genuine kind of compassion as well, and real appreciation for you visiting their country. Obviously, they rely a lot from tourism and stuff like that, but yeah, they just seem so genuine. And listen, there's good and bad in all, you know, everywhere you go, but on the whole, they were just really beautiful people, really beautiful.
You got your little bracelet as well that you've not taken off since, haven't you?
I tell you what, before we start this in future, let's build some boundaries.
Okay, sorry. All right, let's get back to business. Altitude. How did you find it?
On the plane.
No.
It's a pressurised cabin, you clown. Right. Oh dear.
The altitude on the mountain.
The altitude on the mountain. Look, he's slipping out. You've got to look. There. Sorry. This is where we are. Okay. The altitude on the mountain was probably the biggest thing that you cannot predict. So that was my biggest worry out of everything. I knew I was fit enough. I'd been in an altitude chamber here to measure my blood and all that kind of thing at altitude, and which was all positive, but you still don't know because I'd never been up to 6,812 meters before. So that was my biggest concern, and going up into that height, I mean, I actually handled it not too bad. I did have that numb headache, but on the whole, there was other people that were suffering a lot worse than I was. So, yeah.
You couldn't sleep though, could you?
Yeah, no, I couldn't sleep. I didn't really sleep for the... Yeah, that was I forgot about that. Mm. I couldn't sleep. It was horrendous. Sleep was horrendous though. I'm no good at sleeping anyway, but, you know, sleep at the altitude really affected my sleep. I just kept waking up at 2, 3 in the morning and couldn't get back to sleep. Even when I was at base camp.
Was it how you imagined it would be?
Was it how I imagined it to be? Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say absolutely not, but I underestimated how tough it'd be. Well, Dablam is one of the most technical climbs in the Himalayas, more technical than Everest. But yeah, I didn't think there would be that much rope work and climbing and, you know, sheer faces like that you've got to scale up. And also what you don't appreciate is how tough it is coming down as well. You know, in a lot of respects, it's easy going up than it is coming down. So, you know, really, yeah, I underestimated how technical it would be. But again, that was a good thing because it was challenging. I love a challenge.
See, I got this a bit wrong when I read this question out, so I'm going to try and read it out without losing it. Are there any advantages or disadvantages to climbing this type of mountain in relation to stature or height?
Yeah, well, if you're a lot smaller, it's going to take longer. I don't know really. I mean, a lot of climbers are not necessarily tall, are they? They're quite wiry and quite agile. So I couldn't answer that question really. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it helps on a rock face if you've got a long reach with your legs, but yeah, so you've got to get that level, that even balance of strength and yeah. So yeah. I don't know really.
Is there only one way up and one way down to the Dablam summit? In other words, did you have to queue like the queues highly publicised for Everest climbers? And if so, did you feel at risk doing this?
First of all, I do think there's only one way up. I think so. But there certainly was only one route open when we did that climb. Second part of that question was did you have to queue? There was absolutely no queues. The way we did that was from base camp. Well, on the final time we went up, it was base camp, camp 1, camp 2, stopped at camp 3, which is just below the summit, about 300 meters, something like that, probably even less. And then we stayed there until early morning, about 3-4 in the morning, and then we got up and then attacked the summit. So, and there was no queues. The only person in front of me was Aldo, who was in, we were the first 4 up that morning. So there was me, Aldo, me, then I think it was Jim Walker and then Tim Davis. Yeah, so we all staggered up and got to the top.
Was that the inner circle group?
That was the inner circle of trust.
I can probably answer this one. What did you think about when you made it to the top? It was me, wasn't it? It was me.
Yeah, let's go with that. What did I think about? Of course, my lovely wife. What did I think about when I got to the top?
It looked a bit blowy up there.
Wasn't that kind of climb, darling? Come on. Back in the room. It was, at the top, it's just like, it's emotional. I don't mind saying that. And it is really emotional because how hard it is, it's a real journey. It's a proper journey from the moment you get into country and then you get, fly out to the region, then you're trekking up through the mountains for 3 days. And then you do the climbs, which first of all, you're acclimatizing at base camp, then you go into camp 1 and 2, and then you're coming back all the way back down, which is really messes with your head. And then you go back and do the whole lot again. So by the time you get to the top, it is a real journey, a real mental journey. And it's emotional. I don't mind saying it's, quite emotional. And then you look around and just, there's nothing quite like it.
How long were you up there for? It wasn't long, was it?
Well, actually on the summit.
On the summit, yeah.
You can't stay on the summit long because of the wind and how cold it is up there, and you're just standing still. So I stayed up there to get pictures, and the only reason I stayed up there so long is because I had so many flags to take pictures with. No, I only had 2, a Breakpoint flag and a Devante flag. So yeah, it was it was only 5 minutes on the top.
Long.
Yeah.
Did you hear of any quirky superstitions before or during the climb that you tried, either from locals or other people that had climbed the mountain previously?
I wouldn't say quirky traditions or anything like that, but you do quite a few ceremonies when you're at base camp. And it's purger you do at the bottom where you actually bless the mountain and hope the mountain keeps everyone safe. So, but no real superstitions as such, I don't think. And if there were negative ones, I'd ignore them anyway.
Any scary moments?
The scariest moment for me was when we pushed up to camp 3, and I was too hot going up. I underestimated how warm it would be, but it's really hard getting that balance right, because as soon as you find it, like the sun was coming down from one side of the mountain, but as soon as you went round the other side on like one of the peaks or something like that where there's no sun and the wind comes in and gets you, it gets you really, you get really cold. But so it's hard to find the balance of knowing what to wear. I wore too much warm kit, and by the time I got to the top, I was absolutely spent. So I would say I was concerned that I was then going to have to, you know, whether I would recover in time to get to the top. There was a few scary moments, scaling the rocks and stuff like that, but yeah, a few slips and but yeah, nothing too scary.
Were there any points where you thought, I just can't do this? What did you tell yourself to carry on?
You know what? There were some points, and I knew it would come, and that's where me and Aldo were actually in the tent, and it was quite funny because we had to laugh at it. We looked at each other, and we were hanging out. You know, our headaches and everything was so tired. You know, that first time to go up to Camp 1, and then when we were sleeping at, yeah, we only slept at Camp 1 then. We didn't sleep at Camp 2 because it was disgusting actually. But Camp 1, and we just lay there the first time up, and we just went, why are we doing this? You know, and it's easy then to go, well, you know, I've got a comfortable life. I write books, do corporate talks. Why am I not just doing that? And that's how the mind sort of says, you know, starts to question what you're doing. But the one thing that pulls you through that is the why. And once you've got a strong why, the journey becomes easy, or the how becomes easy. But you have to keep reminding yourself of that why. That why for me was that I knew it was, you know, it's about that growth, that personal growth for me. I just knew how much I developed from that journey. I've also got a responsibility or a duty to be able to complete that stuff and push through the mental negativity. So, yeah, it's yeah, that was the time when you question why we're doing it. And you just have to make sure you do have a strong why before you do stuff like this. Because if you haven't got a strong why, you'll focus on every obstacle and never get up there. Oh, I just missed that from Jim Walker.
Oh,
he's on the group, I think.
Yeah, I have seen him commenting.
Big Jim, I need to talk to you, mate. Sorry I haven't called you.
I'm actually going to bring this one in because I've just seen someone ask it on here. A couple of people have asked it, and you just mentioned it there. What was discussed about the camp, and what were the toilet facilities like? Because obviously this is a big thing, isn't it? At the moment, there's a lot of people climbing mountains, a lot of people go out there and they do that kind of stuff. And wherever your thoughts on that, you know, it's there is a bit of a litter problem going on, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually quite shocked. I mean, Camp 1 wasn't so bad, but Camp 2, it was just like the ground underfoot. You know, you took your boots off to change your boots, and it was like you didn't want to step anywhere. And it was quite disgusting. It stunk, you know, there's feces and stuff all over the mountain. And it did make me think, you know, these people have come to climb because they want to connect with nature, connect with the mountain. And I looked around me and thought, wow, really? Is that? I was quite disappointed, to be honest. I think it was disgusting. Toilet facilities, you know, you just had to find, you know, I was just holding off as long as I could, and then in the end I just couldn't, and I had to find a rock and lift it and leave a little piece of me on the mountain. It's now 6,813 metres.
Okay, moving on. All right, you said before the climb that you would return as a different person. Have you? And if so, how?
Yeah, I think when you do something like that, you know, that for me was a 12-month process, a 12-month goal. You know, I can remember getting in touch with Nims just after we went to the screening of 14 Peaks. And I texted him and said, mate, I'm coming with you. I want to go on one of your X-beds. And I know Staz, I've just been talking to Staz, we've just done a bit of work together.
Staz had just done it.
Staz had just done it, yeah. Staz went off when we were just after we'd done some filming together. Staz from Through Dark. And yeah, he just recommended it. And then I just said to Nims that I wanted to do it. And yeah, he recommended Dablam. And yeah, that was a 12-month process for me. So what was the question?
Oh, if you'd return a different person.
Yeah. So with that kind of growth and that kind of journey, you cannot not come back a different person. And yeah, so for me, I came back. You know, when you're there at the mountain, I keep saying this, and I say it to you, Laura, don't I? The mountain view.
Yeah.
When you're up the top there and you're looking out, and you've got the clouds and everything, you're above the clouds, and it's so peaceful. And then at that moment in time, you know, there's no noise going on. All the noise below that you cannot hear, you know, the noise of civilization and everything else, you can't hear it. It's just cut off. And then you come back down to earth and get back to civilization. Back to the UK, and you're then caught down below with all that noise and everything going on and so many distractions. And I feel it's so powerful to take yourself back. A lot of people say to me, "How's the mountain?" I say, "Well, mentally, I'm still there." And that means that I want to push and have that mountain view as much as possible. And that is, I try and get myself above all the noise and everything that's going on and have that bigger perspective view on life. And that's how I've changed mainly. So, yeah.
Did the challenge go as you expected, or did anything surprise you? I tell you what, it bloody surprised me when you were back 10 days earlier than you were supposed to be. I had to clean the house a bit quickly.
And get that bloke out.
All right. Did anything surprise you?
What, when I came back?
No. Did it all go as planned? Did anything?
It went even better than planned. You know, it was amazing. I mean, Elite Exped, I just want to give them a shout because they were absolutely brilliant. NIMS was absolutely brilliant.
Slick operation.
Yeah, slick operation. I mean, NIMS doesn't have to do that. You know, NIMS doesn't have to do these expeditions. He doesn't have to be slaving away and making sure that everyone's, you know, and he doesn't, it's not like he gets there and his hands off, I'm a celebrity and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, NIMS is still NIMS. NIMS is still the NIMS that, you know, I knew before. And, you know, obviously there are some changes, but it's still as personal, you know, he's still got that attention to detail, making sure everyone's happy, everything's right. And he works hard. He works so hard. And he deserves. A lot of people are jealous of NIMS, right? And I'd just like to say this, that NIMS, you know, I knew him before he got onto TV, and he was like reaching out saying, I really need to get some money. What he went through to get where he's got, he absolutely 100% deserves that. And for anyone to give him a hard time for what he's achieved and how his life is now, he absolutely 100% deserves that. So and a big shout out to Elite Exped, all his staff, everyone are absolute legends. He's got an amazing setup.
In fact, someone asked how many Sherpas were up there with you, so just...
Oh, there was about, I'd say about 20 Sherpas, not with me, but we had a Sherpa, we each had a Sherpa, yeah. So, but he's got a lot of Sherpas, and they are experienced and absolute powerhouses. Absolutely amazing people. Really look after you as well. What
was your highlight moment, do you think?
Coming home to you.
Oh, no, you can't.
No, the highlight moment was Summit.
Yeah.
You know, getting to the summit, because I don't care who you are. I mean, you know, the weather can stop you from going up. There's so many factors that can stop your journey. Injury can stop you. You know, it happens. Some people, you know, you can't acclimatise. You've got altitude sickness, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's so many things that can stop. And you start to think. I started to think, actually, because there was weather coming in and this, that and the other. And I started thinking, you know, some things are out of your control. It doesn't matter how fit you are. Some things just, you know, some people don't summit. So the moment was summiting and achieving the goal that I set out to do.
Yeah. Hardest thing to adjust to? Probably the altitude.
The altitude was the hardest thing to adjust to.
And the most difficult part, would you say that was the most difficult part of it all as well?
I'd say, yeah, the altitude. I think that in conjunction with the absolute gnarly climbs that we had to, you know, the sheer faces we were scaling up and then having to come back down, you know, but yeah, I mean, that in conjunction with the altitude and adjusting to that is the hardest thing. Yeah.
Didn't Edmund Hillary call Dablam unclimbable?
Yeah.
So the first man to successful get up to the top of Everest actually deemed Dablam unclimbable, but clearly we have more technical kit these days, so it's a bit easier. I think we've kind of covered this, but how did it feel to return to the world after such a climb and achievement?
Yeah, it's always hard adjusting when there's such a life-changing sort of experience like that.
Yeah, the mountain blues, didn't you?
Yeah, the mountain blues, yeah, I really did. And I came back and I was in that, sinking into a little bit of depression. I won't call it depression, I was flat, you know, over a period of time.
Yeah, but that's reaching a goal, achieving it.
Yeah, but that is, absolutely, that is reaching a goal. And that is why it's so important that even on your way to your goals, you start setting more goals. You know, and you start, you know, that becomes your new focus. You move through the target. You don't stop at the target.
What learnings would you pass on to someone who's planning this kind of a trek or adventure?
One thing I'd say is go someone that has really got a track record of excellence in this field, so elite expert. Secondly, I would say don't start to pick a goal, and this is any goal as well. This is not just a mountain, but don't start to pick something that is defined by your self-constructed limitations. Because a lot of people were there who hadn't climbed before, and they all made it to the top. So, you know, just don't underestimate yourself. You know, and listen, we should be aiming for goals that we can't see. I went there thinking, yeah, this is going to be like what I call a tier 2 goal.
Yeah.
And that is,
yeah,
I went there thinking, I said this is a tier 2 goal, and that's, you know, there's a bit of planning and structure. You know, you can reach the target. You know, you can do it. And halfway through, I phoned Laura, said, this is now a tier 1 goal. I totally underestimated it, and that's when you can't see the path. You can't see the path to your goal, but you in those moments you've got to be courageous. So that's throwing yourself into any situation without a guarantee of a successful outcome. I was going for it, whatever. So I went there to climb a mountain. I wasn't going to come back unless I got to the top, or there was some real, at the end of the day, if I hadn't adjusted to the altitude, I'd gone back down, I'd waited longer and longer. But the fact is, no matter, we went up first. We were the first team to go up. No, we weren't. There was a girl called Anna, an absolute beast of a woman, that went up, and she summited before anyone.
She was acclimatised though, wasn't
she was acclimatised, already acclimatised. So yeah, we were the next team to go up, and we were all good to go. So it's because we adjusted, because we were there, that NIMS made the decision for us to go.
If you had to sum up the whole experience in one word, what would it be?
Incredible.
Incredible.
No, there's better words than that, but what would you say?
I don't know.
Okay. No,
I don't use just one word.
Yeah.
Why use one when you can use like 50? Right, what's your next big goal? Any more mountains?
Yeah, well, listen, I did come back and say I wanted to do Everest.
We've got a business mountain to climb.
Yeah, and that's our new mountain. So the reason I'm not doing Everest in April is because I'll come back from filming with SAS Australia, and then I'll be, I would have been going straight out to climb Everest. And like Laura says, that is the new mountain. That is the mountain, Breakpoint. So yeah, that's the biggest mountain to climb, and really changing as many people as possible, getting them to really understand how powerful we are. That's the mountain. Then Everest, 2024.
Yeah. How long have you wanted to climb, and why that particular mountain? Has it inspired you to climb more? And I think Laura should have a go. She'd smash it. Well, obviously. However, had a little bit of a motorbike accident back in end of 2021. Actually, that was just around the screening of 14 Peaks, wasn't it? Because I went up there on my crutches. And then subsequent knee surgery in January, so not at the moment.
Yeah. So really for me, I was in mountain troop in the special boat service. So we didn't do any massive climbs like that, or big climbs like that. But I've always had an interest in climbing and rock climbing and stuff like that. And really, for me, it's you don't conquer mountains, you conquer a limitation in here. So it was about me making sure that the longer we don't push ourselves into doing things that stretch us, the thicker that wall builds on the inside, and before you know it, it's so restricted we don't do anything in life. So really, it's about really keeping and pushing, really pushing the mark as far as possible on a regular basis. So, and yeah, just having that constant requirement for growth.
Yeah. Your mindset must have played a part in a successful summit. Can you tell us how we can adapt that same mindset in other challenging aspects of life?
Yeah, it is mindset. Everything is mindset as far as I'm concerned. So, a lot of people think mind and body are two different things, and they're not. They're far from it. They're interlinked. So, at the end of the day, really, you can't do anything without thought processes first. And the brain is a wonderful thing, but it can work for you or work against you. It depends how It does exactly what you ask it to do. You know, the body is simply a mechanism of the mind. So for me, yeah, 100% mindset. And I would urge everyone that, look, I say this a lot because it is fact, everyone is driven by their goals. And that's because our subconscious mind is a goal-striving, goal-getting machine that basically is attracted to its dominant thoughts. So the things we think about, we become. And really, it's about stretching ourselves, making sure that we push the boundaries. We're led to believe, or programmed to believe, that the utopia in life is to have no problems, to be lazy as anything, and, you know, not to basically, you know, not to stretch ourselves. And it's absolute rubbish. We're put on this planet to achieve, to push ourselves, to problem solve. And thank God there's problems in this world, you know, in our lives, because that's how we grow, that's how we learn, that's how we develop. So for me, the last thing you want to do is sit there and just allowing life to pass you by, because that, you know, a lot of people think about depression and not feeling they've got any sense of purpose, but they're still doing the same monotonous repeat habit loops of yesterday and the day before and the day before that. So, you know, pick something that pushes you, that makes you feel uncomfortable. And one thing I want to say this, right, because there's a message out there at the moment, you know, you've got to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's humankind's biggest problem, because people are so easy to accept their mediocre and boring lives, and not really, and when the answers lie with them. So, you know, when it comes to you losing that sense of purpose, losing that passion, losing that motivation is lack of clarity. So really start to push yourself, and don't think that we were just put on this planet to eat, sleep, work, and then repeat. Just there's more to life than that. Which fizz watch is that, Ollie? This is a Panerai watch.
Lots of people asking about your watch.
It's a Panerai.
Is there any video or film of the experience? Yes.
Thank you for Liam at Videos for Coaches, who we work with. There is videos, and after this, starting tomorrow, I'm going to put my journey on Instagram. So please follow that, and I'll every day. I'm not sure how many.
He's done a whole series of videos.
Yeah, but do you know how many?
5.
5 videos. So maybe. over 5 days.
Yeah.
So tomorrow that'll start.
Yeah, that'd be nice to get that out there. So you need to answer this one carefully, because there's a few members of people that you were climbing with on there. Andy
Cannon, hello mate. Bit late. Attention to detail and timings.
Who is your favourite member of your expedition team? And I think a lot of them are watching, so...
You know, there was this, it's a tough one, but there was this really lovely young lady called Beth Rudd, who was always smiling, always happy. Beth, you lined that question up so that I would praise you. I know you did. But yes, Beth was lovely. But everyone was lovely. But
oh, there's 13 videos, Liam said.
13 videos.
He was busy.
13 videos. Yep, Beth and everyone was brilliant. There were so many amazing people.
You had a couple of, you had Jim with you, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing because I had no idea Aldo was going. I had no idea Jim Walker was going, and no idea Tim Davis was going, and that was incredible. So it was like 3 people that I knew, and that was incredible. It's like, because they'd put some stuff on Instagram, they then got in touch and said, "I'm doing it as well." It was brilliant. We had a real boys club, and we're there for, you know, to get the flags up there, the SAS flag, the SBS flag, and
that's a seamless link into another question, actually. How much did teamwork and camaraderie play in achieving your goal? Because
you know what? Yeah,
it's nice to have them there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was just, I tell you what, it was just like being back in. It was just like the banter and everything was like, and we got loads of other people involved as well. It was one of those things where all of, you know, because we were noisy and everything and having a bit of banter, everyone closed in, everyone homed in on us, and then the people that couldn't handle it kind of moonwalked away. But it left with a really cool, funny, you know, a great team, core group of people. So
Beth said it made it all the more enjoyable. So clearly you haven't left her with any
scars. No, I mean, there was this. I mean, it is a bit. You know, our humour is a bit brutal. I admit that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly doesn't suit the woke people.
Not for everyone, is it?
No.
All right. So someone is planning the same expedition in 2024 and trekking to Everest Base Camp next year in 2023. Actually, we've actually talked. They said, how did you deal with the altitude sickness? But you've talked about it. But were there any tips of how you can deal with it, or is it just a time thing? You have to give yourself a good time to acclimatise, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you listen, let's get straight into that, because if you can get to an altitude chamber before you go, I mean, there's plenty all over the UK. I would definitely recommend that. So get to an altitude chamber. You need to really do some high intensity training. So like your CrossFit style working out.
Yeah, can you talk about the training?
I am doing.
Yeah. That's something else I wrote down. So a lot of people are asking what you did at sea level to prepare.
I get it. So, you know, that kind of high intensity working out, HIIT training, because that really starts to develop those red blood cells, and they're what you need to deal with that altitude. I've been doing a lot of training. I've been really intensively training since March this year. So I would really do a lot of that kind of endurance style training. One thing I'll say about the altitude, you know, there's so many lessons to be learned from that climb. It's like you got there and you got to base camp, 3 days trek up to base camp, which was incredible. I can remember coming around on that trek and then coming around the corner, and you see I'm a Dablam, and it's got to have the biggest like presence in the whole of the Himalayas. It's like this chisel that sticks out. It's just incredible. Stunning. So yeah, so basically you do that, you're acclimatizing all the way, you get to base camp, and then you go from base camp, you go up to camp 1 and then to camp 2. And when I first went up, I was like, oh my God, this is hideous. And I just felt tired, and not a massive headache, but you know, I know Tim was being violently sick at one point. And then you get to camp 2 and you stood there thinking, right, you've now got to go back down. You can like pretty much, you're not so close. There's still a good way to go to the summit, but you can see it and think, but it's only there. Why am I going back down? It's like so demoralizing. But then you go back down to base camp, although we did get on the net and tried to ask, you know, Nims, can we just keep on going? And he said, no, you come back down. You come back down. So we went back down, and then 24 hours in camp before we went off again. And then that climb after that, because that helps then the red blood cells to really start to develop. That climb after that was a whole different climb. I was a different person. You can see the benefit of why he really pushes to make sure that you do that. You can see the importance of it. So yeah, it's like, you know, one thing, like I say, HIIT workouts, really high intensity, pushing into that sort of 150, 160 heartbeats a minute. Intensely and back again. So yeah,
but actually that the girl that went up before you guys and summited, she had been out there previously. She'd done Manaslu. Then she'd gone back for a bit, and then she'd come back out. But don't you have like a 3-week window?
It's around about 3 weeks before your body normalizes again. Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask this question because we've got a funny story about this. How did you celebrate after? Now, you took a little HIIT flask up with you, didn't you?
Came up with a great idea. I took a HIIT flask that was Laura's HIIT flask.
It was my 18th birthday.
18th birthday.
Yeah, never been used.
And I wanted to take something of Laura's with me. Took the HIIT flask and I bought some rum. There was 0 alcohol, so 0% rum. And then I got to the top, unscrewed the lid, and it was all frozen inside. And that's obviously the benefit why they take spirits up on the mountain, because they don't freeze. So yeah, that was a bit pointless. But how did I celebrate? We came back down to base camp, and then the party started, and 00 then went to bed. Yeah, so I don't drink, obviously, and yeah. And when I wake up in the morning and see everyone else, that is when you shine.
Yeah. And then you were back early. I've got one here. Can you talk a little bit about kit?
Yeah, Liam there is saying there's a video on my feed of one of my workouts. So they're on there, yeah. So if you need any examples.
Yeah. Kit. We had a question about kit. Obviously, if you did a kit walkthrough, that would be like a whole nother video.
That was on my feed.
Yeah, but you didn't go through all the kit in detail. It was.
Well, we're not going to do it now.
No, we're not going to do it now. However, let's just touch on kit. Talk about what you took with you. What was your best bit of kit?
No, I'm not going to go through. Yeah, they're not going to go through everything because there's a massive amount of kit. There's two massive 40-kilogram bags. So kit-wise, at the end of the day, one thing I would say is really do your research into the temperatures and stuff like that, because there was people out there with sleeping bags that just weren't suitable for that climate, you know. So make sure you have got adequate kit. Like boots-wise, you've got to make sure you get good boots. I went out. I was angry at this because I took Arc'teryx boots. I bought brand new ones, and they were too hard, too stiff and too hard. And yet, like, especially going up there from day one, trekking up, you need a nice, soft, comfortable, you know, boot. So not a climbing boot that's hard. I made a mistake there. And then some really good, obviously, mountain boots for the temperatures at the top there, which are La Sportiva. And then Through Dark kit is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So I went, you know, I've got friends at Through Dark who advised, especially Stas, because he went the year before. I went down and got a load of kit from them, which was, their kit is just second to none. Yeah. But yeah, you've got to make sure, don't buy cheap kit doing something like that. And a lot of the stuff you can buy in country as well. There's so many shops and stuff in Kathmandu. And also you can rent stuff as well. So you can rent the boots, you can rent sleeping bags, you can rent the summit suits. Yeah. What was I just Revolution Race, okay.
Temperature. What did the temperature get down to, actually? That was what I was going to ask.
I think it's minus 25, thereabouts.
Minus 25.
I didn't really check, but it was cold.
Yeah.
Minus 25, minus something like that.
And someone's asking, how long was the trip? A lot shorter than we thought.
Yeah, well, I went, what, 20...
You left on the 20th of October. You went out to Kathmandu for about 5 days, didn't you? So you could get over the jet lag and stuff.
So it would have been even shorter if I didn't do that.
Yeah, so it would have been shorter. But they give you a window, don't they? Because they don't know if the weather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're actually due to come back on about the 20th of November, a whole month.
Yeah.
You actually ended up coming back about 10 days early. And yeah, that is basically...
Primark snoodies are good.
That is basically because you don't know what's going to happen with the weather.
But what date was I back?
Early.
Yeah, no, what was it?
I don't know. I can't remember. And what was the food like? What food did you eat?
Man, I'll tell you what, the food at base camp was
Michelin star.
It was like incredible. It's like, you know, Nims's base camp is second to none. But, you know, the tents and everything, you know, I had a little desk in there for me to do my memoirs in the evening.
When you weren't sleeping.
Yeah, when I wasn't sleeping. It was just incredible. But the food, it was like unbelievable. And you just think, you know, what it takes to get that food into base camp. It's just incredible. Yeah, so the food was just great. Just really good.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of vegetables, a lot of really, you know, a lot of rice and stuff like that. So
what about when you were up the mountains? Do you have rat packs?
Yeah, up the mountains. I mean, they do you you take up that, you know, you take the dehydrated
dry packs.
The dry packs, yeah. So you just add hot water and that. But they give you a lunch pack, you know, with some pretty standard stuff in there.
A little lunch box.
Yeah, it is. In a little bag. You put in your backpack, yeah. So no, we were well fed.
Yeah. Okay. Chuck in some other questions, guys, because I've had a load of ones that we've got sent in earlier. So if anyone wants anything
noodles,
else,
Jim, noodles.
Any more tours on the horizon? We always get asked this one, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'd like to do tours, but I want to do it differently than everyone else. I don't want to stand there on stage just talking. You know, I want it to be more about people's personal growth and development. So
yeah,
there will be, but it will be different. It's not for everyone. Remember, I'm not the cup of tea. I'm a shot of whiskey.
Oh, someone actually asked about you didn't need an oxygen mask up there, did you? And what height do you need oxygen over?
About 25, 20 plus
meters. 8,000
I don't know.
meters.
Yeah, well, that's 24, isn't it? So yeah.
Is it? Okay, there you go. We have got...
I like my Land Rover as well,
but
not the one that blew up.
Asking about Breakpoint Events. Should we touch on that? What we're doing moving forward? A lot of people asking about how you break your goals down. We have got something for you if you're interested in that. So
goal setting and goal achieving is an absolute science. It's an art. So, you know, the courses that we're doing, which you can buy for the course that I'm doing after Christmas. So we've already done the first session. So if you want to be part of that, you can get the first session and then be part of that intake on the 8th of January, where we do a 5-week course that I'm going to show you the absolute bulletproof method of achieving your goals. It works 100%. And then Breakpoint Events, we are looking to do the mountain series in 2023.
As in
this country, these mountains,
No.
Pennyvan, Snowdon, Ben Nevis, and maybe Scaffold Pike or something like that. So one every quarter of the year, and really getting people from the couch to the top of those mountains. Yeah. So if you are interested in that, drop us a DM, just so we can get a level of interest. But yeah, first of all, the goal setting program starts on the 8th of Jan for 5 weeks, and why not let one of your goals be doing that mountain series with Breakpoint next year?
Yeah. A few people have asked me how I feel when you go off and do these things.
Do you want to go?
No, it's fine. I obviously worry, but I don't focus on that. I focus on, like we do with anything in life, we focus on the outcome that we want. So when Ollie is away doing something like that, I am used to you going away. It's always been very much a part, you know, I wasn't with you when you were in the military. However, you've always been away. Yeah, good job. Wouldn't want to do it. You always were, you know, you've always had stints off filming, you know, all over the world, in Australia and stuff like that. So I'm used to you going away. But yeah, just visualise the outcome of, I actually visualise going to get you at the airport and meeting you.
So I ruined that
and
this
seeing,
year.
No, yeah, because you...
Oh, no, that was it, because I asked you to come and pick me up and you were busy.
Yes, because you changed your flights. So
I had to come home and get someone else who loved me to bring me back.
the Uber driver.
Yeah, and he went to the wrong airport.
Yeah, that's... We'll move over that. But no, it's fun. It's good.
Did you take Buttercup out for a ride when I'm away?
No, not after my last run-in with a motorbike. No,
Buttercup's poorly.
Yeah.
She's been in a long... I think she had... I'm not even going to say it.
Don't know.
No, yeah, she's coming back soon.
All right, that's 50 minutes.
Okay, so...
You want to chuck anything else out there? Competition?
Yeah, well, we've got some, haven't we?
You got to do that. Yeah.
So the competition. And the winner is?
Let me find it. The winner is, I don't know if he's on, however, Gaz since 1966. We will find you and send you a message.
Well done, Gaz. If you're on here, let's see you if you are on here. I tell you what, I did say that you have got to be on here to win these prizes. So Gaz, if you're on here, make yourself known. And if you're not on here, then we'll have to pick someone else. To repeat that, who was it? Gaz since
1966. You sent in.
Gaz.
You really
there he is.
There he is. Yay!
Gaz, you have won.
Less admin.
The book. Personally signed to you, not the one with Laura's.
Not the one made out.
Not the one made out to Laura.
My darling wife.
So there's less love, but there will still be some kisses and stuff. You have also won the flag with my signature on it. That's the very one that was on the summit with me.
Might just have to iron it a bit.
No, because it's got to be folded to put away.
And, of course. Yeah.
So when you do get that, give it a little iron under a tea towel or something like that and make it nice.
Not too hot.
Yeah, not too hot, otherwise you'll have a Devante iron. And you also get a picture from the summit as well that's also signed with that flag, with me with the flag. This would look fantastic, I think, in a frame. You could actually, if you wanted to, if you're sick of seeing my face, you could actually give that to someone for charity, whatever. But I think it's a great prize for you. So Gaz, well done for that. And I'll tell you why you won it. Because you sent us in some amazing questions.
Yeah, really well thought out questions.
And, you know,
Very
everyone else benefited, I'm sure, from those
Yes.
great questions. But Gaz really put some time in and really chose questions that benefited the group.
Yes.
So anyway,
Exactly.
so listen, just recap on what we said. Don't forget, if you want to be part of that goal setting masterclass in Jan, which is absolutely amazing. It starts on the 8th of Jan. Now you can still do it's broken into 2 phases. We've already done the first phase. If you come on board, you have to get the first phase and you get the second. We are, you know, the price of that was, well, we've quartered the price. 47 pounds for that. That's just like ridiculous. But
yeah,
mission is to change as many lives as possible and prove to everyone that system works.
Yeah.
And thanks for taking your time to be on here tonight. I know a lot of people who dropped off, but for those that have stayed on, I really appreciate you doing so.
Stayed quite consistent at that number.
Yeah,
so
but it was up to 300 at one point.
Yeah, but everyone.
All right, let's take this out of the room.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, listen, if I don't see you, I'm sure you'll see me on Instagram or whatever, but everyone have an absolutely amazing, amazing Christmas. And what we also are doing very soon is, if you are conscious that you're drinking too much and you know Christmas is going to be an absolute slaughter, and if you don't want it to be, I'm going to do a survival guide for Christmas. And then also, if your plan is to stop drinking dry Jan and hopefully take it further than that, then we'll be doing something after Christmas for that as well. If you are planning to stop drinking after Christmas, then just imagine your mind will be saying to you, right, let's get smashed. Let's get absolutely smashed. This is the last time we're going to be together, you and your absolutely mental, crazy, drunken friend that is you. But don't do it, because you're just going to be hurt out the other side. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Shall I get Murphy in? Everyone's asking.
Yeah, Murphy.
Murph's. Come. There he is.
There's Murph. Hey. All right, so have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for your time. And just like to say a big thank you to Devanti. If you have got a vehicle, check them out. They've got some amazing products when it comes to tyres. And a big thank you for making that journey possible and how amazing they were in supporting my goal. So big thanks to Devanti. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone.